Mark Mowers started his hockey career in Whitesboro and ended up playing with legends of the National Hockey League. He talked to us about the evolution of the hockey community here and the evolution of his own career as we bring to you a Grassroots through Utica presented by the Indium Corporation.
Back when I was young, and our parents were outside building rinks for us to get on the ice. That's how far it's come. This building was here, but there just weren't facilities. There weren't ice rinks, and the popularity of the sport, in the 70s, late 70s. I know that's back there.
1870s, oh yeah.
Don't start. So it's a whole different thing, but the passion for the game has remained the same.
How do you go from Whitesboro to UNH to the National Hockey League? Take us through that journey.
In the short form, a lot of luck. But in the long form, it was just baby steps. And I tell people all the time, like, I wasn't a goal that I wanted to play in the NHL. I didn't really sit in bed and dream, or that I was going to play in the NHL. It just kind of, I wanted to keep playing the game as long as I could. Before I knew it, I was 19, 20 years old, playing for Dubuque of all places, and college teams started calling, and took some visits and fell in love with UNH, and same thing there. I got to UNH, I still wasn't thinking I was going to play pro hockey. It was just, I wanted to win a national championship, and got to be my junior year. I have agents start calling me. I'm like, yeah, this is weird. Maybe I will get a chance to play. And so then, yeah, graduated and signed a deal with Nashville, and that's kind of the end of the story.
So a lot of people have their welcome to the NHL moment, or a moment where you realize, you look up and think, I'm playing in the greatest league in the world. Do you have that moment in your career where you look back and thought, maybe you didn't play 1,000 games in the NHL, but you were an NHL player for a long time?
Yeah, I think the first defining moment was I got called up from Milwaukee, and just walking in the locker room and you see your jersey hanging. And I remember it was Tommy Fitzgerald, who's now the GM of New Jersey, and Cliff Ronning was next to me. I'm like, holy cow, this really, I still kind of get chills when I think of that picture. But moving on to Detroit 4 years later, and then getting to play some shifts with Shanahan and Hull, and that's when it kind of really stuck in, that I was like, wow, I can do this. So it was some great moments with all four teams that I played with, and but the first moment was definitely seeing my jersey hanging.
So I remember you as a Red Wing, and I wonder, it must have been sitting around that locker room, and you're looking across and seeing Brendan Shanahan. You look and see Brett Hull. You see Steve Yzerman. You see Dominik Hasek, and you're thinking, this is an all-star team, and I'm part of it. Just a kid growing up in Whitesboro, now I'm sitting with one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, that was another learning moment, and try to just act cool and act like I did belong there, because there were certainly moments where I was in awe. We'd have meetings and Yzerman's talking, and I'm like, what did you say? I'm just looking at him as the icon, and so it did take me a little while to feel comfortable and be out on the ice and not be nervous catching passes, or trying to score on Cujo or Hasek, like you said. So it was a learning curve, but like you said, I came from just a small town and then end up there. It was very strange, but now looking back at it, the memories are just incredible.
Now there aren't fans. There will be at some point soon. There certainly was back in the day. They jammed in, and you've been scouting here. So you've played here. You're scouting here. You look up and think, I'm home.
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? I don't know. I think they do. The fans kind of know how special this building is, but I can reconfirm it that there aren't many in the American Hockey League that are like this. For players, for fans, for anybody. Even media people down below, they give them a nice little, as you can tell, I'm not saying by your stomach, but there's some good food out there. There's some great food around here. It's a special building, and it's come a long way. It was special back then, but it is top notch in the league right now.